We're live now. Cool.
Alrighty.
Hey. All right. Welcome to State of the Nerd Union. Sorry we're running late tonight, folks. We've had a busy past few weeks personally for everybody in the show tonight.
Hmm.
Yeah. Kenneth is taking a break and just having some time to relax and rest. And just recover from whatever's going on. I think he had like some kind of sinus stuff going on, maybe. So I'm joined here tonight, but really I'm joining Imminent Doom X tonight because I'm never here. So I'm usually on the back end working stuff out. But yeah,
Yep,
so
yep.
how's your past couple weeks been?
How have my past couple of weeks been? Pretty alright, I guess.
Good.
Elden Ring came out. Everybody's been playing it. It's been popping off.
How is that?
Um, I bought it. I haven't played it yet.
Okay.
Honestly, like with everybody playing it, I don't. What I just want to play the game like by myself, and I don't
Mhm.
really want to talk to like everybody under the sun about it. I want to go off and experience it at my own pace and just play the game. And I'm not about the hype of stuff anymore because I'm just like it's like playing a game in a group or whatever. I'm like it is fun and it is enjoyable, but I mostly just want to I want to do it at my own pace. I don't want to be playing it with my homies in Discord and then be like, "Whoa, my God, they put that in the game." I'm like, I want to experience it myself.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's that said, it's like they're shattering records from like previous Dark Souls sales and so
wow.
forth. So they're like absolute like all star dunking all over them. It's they're doing great. So I'm really glad for that. I'm glad
Cool.
that it's doing well, and I'm glad it's being received well. I heard there's some performance issues on PC, but there's fine. The game's doing great from what I understand. So
Gotcha. Cool. Hi,
how
Taryn.
about
Also, I
yourself?
saw your comment there. Um, man,
What's up, Taryn?
it's been busy. I've been like working on side projects because like I do video editing for the show, obviously, but then I'm also like trying to expand my video editing prowess. So I've been like working on a couple short films and trying to figure out how to properly time manage to do that correctly and like what
Mm.
expectations to build for all that. So I've been a lot of that. Finished, sort of finished Pokemon Legends Arceus. I thought I finished it, but there's
But
more,
then,
and they're yeah,
yeah,
and they're continuing to add more, which we'll talk more about later on in the show. But I
nice.
finished the first main storyline thing of it, and I'm still in the camp of this game's amazing, and all Pokemon games need to be like this. Um, so
Nice.
that was good, and yeah, took a trip out of town with the family Saturday. So that was nice, like a little day trip.
Right on,
Yes,
right on.
but wait, there's more. But yeah, we'll talk about the more in a little bit. But first up is going to be our quick hits. So, Ivan Reitman, father of Jason Reitman and the director of and Stripes, passed away recently at the age of 75 years old. He's arguably one of the most successful comedic directors of all time, and his movies have also varied from the scientific and supernatural classics like Ghostbusters and Evolution, or goofy screwball comedies with SNL alums like Bill Murray and Jim Belushi in Stripes and Animal House. Man, I feel like every day, like I hear about some celebrity that's like had a really historic impact and like just done a lot has like passed away recently, and it's all like
Hmm.
very ages though. It's really weird.
It's all like very what?
Varying ages though.
Yeah. I mean, that sounds about right. I mean, folk like when you're in Hollywood for a long time, you get a lot of stuff done. So
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, that's unfortunately really sad. I
yeah,
don't know. Like, I haven't necessarily seen the most recent Ghostbusters, but still,
it
like,
was solid. It was
yeah,
solid. I enjoyed it. Some people were like, "Oh, this is a bad movie." I'm like, "Your opinions are bad. Whatever." This movie's. I'm like, this movie like is a great homage to the original.
nice.
They got new characters. There's nods to the old stuff. It's got something for everybody.
Mhm.
It was a fun
Yeah,
ride.
I got to watch like the first few minutes of it, and then my kids woke up, so we didn't end up finishing it because the first few minutes were way scarier than I thought it was going to be. I was like, oh, it's like okay, but I am intrigued.
hmm Up next, we're jumping into the for the cinephiles.
Yeah.
So
So
we got
just for hold on, just for context, real quick, we're
oh
gonna run a
yeah.
little bit of a quicker show this evening, just because we know we've missed the past couple weeks and there's a lot that's happened. So we're gonna hit on what we can talk about for sure.
Yeah,
So
today's not gonna be because there's so much stuff that's happened. Like we're not gonna try and do like a mega show where we're gonna talk about everything because it's like
mhm.
we'd be talking till midnight about all that stuff. But we're gonna kind of like cherry pick across the past couple weeks and talk about a couple of things that have happened. We've been taking notes like here and there across the couple weeks.
Yeah.
So there's like a couple topics that we want to touch on. So yeah, not going to be a super big show, and that's also we're coming in a little bit late, so we're not going to make it bonkers.
Yeah. Sorry. So before the cinephile section, go ahead.
Yeah, so we got Summer of Soul set for a TV premiere on ABC. Amir Questlove Thompson's documentary on the Harlem Cultural Festival that happened to be at the same time as Woodstock back in 1987 will have a TV release on ABC on Sunday, February 20th. Oops, looks like we already missed that. But hopefully it was good. If you happen to be in the chat and you caught it, let us know how it was. Kenny's probably the person who would have the most to say about it because I'm sure he probably watched it or at least has some thoughts. But that's not out there of our wheelhouse. But I'm curious as to how it was received. Second up, we got Movie Pass 2.0. Comes with both new promises and more new problems. So it seems like Movie Pass didn't learn from Black Mirror or the Meow Meow Bean episode of Community. I do not remember that episode.
Oh, no.
There will be a variety of ways for the consumer to earn credits. In addition to their monthly plan, no pricing details were announced, so that they can watch movies at peak times. Ads are expected to be a major piece of this program.
What does
Yeah.
peak times mean?
I'm not entirely sure. It sounds like they're trying to do some throttling. For probably the same kind of stuff that happens when like a big movie or a big game comes out at the everybody. If like the reason that Steam does like that like pre-download thing for games is so that like when 6 p.m. drops on Thursday for Elden Ring, everybody's not trying to hit up Steam to download it right at that moment, but like still the servers get hit all at the same time. So maybe they're like trying to do some like beans, like the meow meow beans thing, which I don't remember from Community, but I'm just simply going to speculate because this is clearly a joke that Kenny was more aware of. Wherein like you need to have a certain number of beans in order to be able to watch it right when it drops or whatever. And beans are like your in-network currency or your after learning that watching an elaborate video about what's it called? Company towns in the U.S. Script is the word that I'm going to use all the time now. Script is basically like company currency of like beans for the meow meow beans or whatever, or Disney dollars or whatever. It's just company script that has no value outside of the space that they designated in.
I got you. I'm wondering also if they're going to try to do some cryptocurrency stuff because it was talking about being built on a Web3 framework and it having a virtual currency of its own. So I'm like, are you guys going to try to come out with like your own like movie cryptocurrency since everybody's doing that, including GameStop now? Like, I mean,
potentially. I mean, they can definitely do their own like internal script without it necessarily being crypto, but.
True.
I wouldn't given that like people are super hype about you go into a room with CEOs and you just say blockchain over and over and they'll give you $500,000 to do whatever your idea is. It's not outside of the realm of suggestion. Taryn did say that Summer of Soul is so good, and that apparently it's on Hulu now too.
Yeah, I might have to watch that this week. I probably will have to watch that this week. So
nice.
That sounds neat. All right, so apparently we may be getting a Jak and Daxter movie, which that's fascinating to me because they haven't re-released the game recently or at all recently, so I don't really know how they're going to market this. But in a week, wow, I'm having a hard time talking. Earlier this week, in an interview with GameSpot, Tom Holland of all people mentioned that after doing the Uncharted film, which releases on Friday the 18th, which is the 18th of March, or is no? It's not.
No, that was last month. This
okay,
word this
I can't
month.
remember. I was like, I was gonna try to check it out.
All of the notes that I've compiled are all from previously written segments, and I did not update them for context.
It's fine. I really haven't had a chance to go to the movie, so like this is all still news to me. So if it's news to me, I bet it's news to some other parent that watches our show. But the next film he would like to do would be Jak and Daxter. And shortly after the interview was published, Ruben Fleischer, the director of Uncharted, saw Tom's comments and revealed that he is in fact trying to get a Jak and Daxter movie made, and that he'd be interested in working with Tom on it. And Tom apparently said Ruben almost said, just by coincidence, somebody forwarded me an article where Tom Holland was asked if he could make any video game movie, And which would it be? Fletcher says. He said Jak and Daxter. And so when I saw him earlier this week on this tour, I said, Tom, somebody told me that you'd want to make that movie, and I'm trying to actually make it. So there's the possibility that we could partner again on that one, which I'm really excited about. The director also says that they have hired writers who are in the process of writing the script, and that he's partnered with Naughty Dog and PlayStation in the development of the Jak and Daxter movie. But there hasn't been an official word from Sony or the game's creators about the Jak and Daxter movie. But we should definitely pay attention. And obviously, if you've been watching our show for any amount of time whatsoever, we're going to be on that because we love Jak and Daxter and we want it back.
Yep, Taryn's absolutely right. They're going to market it through Nerd Union's Jak and Daxter shoutouts. It's like, see, if you put the energy out into the universe, sometimes coincidental things happen, and it happens even without your involvement in any form or way.
Possibly. I'm also maybe going to send a couple emails over there now this week. We'll see what happens. But real talk, I would be stoked if we had a Jak and Daxter movie because, like, that game is just, it's so good. Like, the whole series is really good.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they did a really good job with how and when they decided to pivot the game, because they were like, ooh, what's our target audience for the first game? Cool, they're in adolescence now. What do adolescents like? Gritty sci-fi guns. Let's go. Like, and that's where we pivoted. Yep, and they did a good job. They did a really good job.
That was a crazy pivot when it first happened, though, because no one saw that coming.
You're like, oh man, what a fun, family-friendly platformer, and then it's just like dark and gritty.
And all of a sudden, Dark Jak, you're like, wait, what?
It's like, Nani?
Yeah,
oh man. But yeah, apparently, what's it called? Blah 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 blah. Uncharted film, did really well when it came out. Like it's like between Spider-Man and Uncharted, it's like Tom Holland's like popping off with like both of his films being number one in the box office like back to back. So he's doing great. So
nice.
I think Tom Holland being interested in a Jak and Daxter movie, and the Uncharted movie doing so well, and having Ruben Fleischer and Tom Holland be a part of that project bodes really well for the possibility of a Jak and Daxter film. It's like, oh cool, Tom Holland's like, he's decimating with as an actor, he's decimating with Spider-Man. He did an excellent job with Uncharted, and it's like he and the director want to work together again. It's like, let him do it, go for it. So I think it bodes well.
But the question is, who would he play?
I mean, definitely that. I assume he wants to be Jak. He needs to like. I don't know. So an interesting way they would do it is if they. I think they're at a really good junction where they could like roll it the same way as the game, and if they do a Jak like, I'm not sure how interesting a Jak and Daxter movie of just Jak and Daxter 1 it would be for everybody who remembers more about Jak and Daxter 2 and 3, because those two games are so radically different from the first one. I'm not sure if they could do just Jak and Daxter 1 as a single film by itself, and like it would be great because it's a little too kiddie. However, if they did, and they did it well, they could like pivot it the same way that they did the game. Where it's like, oh man, who's the target audience for this thing? It's like you let Tom Holland get a little bit older, and he ages up a bit, grows like a goatee mustache combo or whatever, and he's all ready for Jak and Daxter 2 and 3.
Yeah, I need to see how he does in the Uncharted movie, because I want to see like some of his range, because I only know Tom Holland is like this really goofy, like fun actor, and that exists in Jak and Daxter, but that's not Jak.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, if anything, Jak is funny in the deep sarcasm kind of way. And the I'm over it, but I'm gonna do the right thing kind of thing.
Who would be a good we can move on just after this. Who would be a good Daxter? Immediate thought, Danny DeVito.
Yeah, you want something like completely ridiculous.
Danny DeVito or honestly who actually voiced Detective Pikachu?
Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds
could do Daxter, but he's kind of like getting caught in that role. See, what I want it to be is I want it to be like the level of absurd as like Idris Elba playing Knuckles. Like it needs to be that just
But Idris,
ridiculous.
he's just doing a regular job as Knuckles. Like he's not even like doing anything bonkers.
But that's what makes it beautiful. Like the fact that Idris Elba is Knuckles of all things.
I mean, who else is going to be Knuckles?
Man, I don't know. Like I
Danny
can't see
DeVito? I don't think so.
Danny DeVito. Oh, I don't know.
Taryn
Oh.
said not a video game movie, but the Dora the Explorer movie was actually really good.
Yeah, I kind of, as a guilty pleasure, I kind of want to see it. Like, not gonna lie. Like, because
I haven't seen it myself, but I've
this
heard
looks
good things about
intriguing.
it. Like
Yeah,
I
I've
heard
never
it was
heard anything
better
bad.
than you thought it would be.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything bad about it. I'm like, oh, this could be like really good. It might be like how I thought Pitch Perfect was gonna be dumb, and Pitch Perfect is like one of my favorite movies ever now.
Nice.
It's so funny. I don't know if you've watched it or not, but anyways,
not for quite some time. Oh, all right. That takes us out of the for the Cinephiles and rolls us into game time. For game time, we got a bunch of information. So when the Nintendo Direct came out a couple weeks ago, we were all like, swamped and overwhelmed, and we did not get an opportunity to talk about it. But the notes are already written, so we're going to talk about it. And maybe there's a little bit of bias with how these notes are structured. Up first, we're talking about Earthbound finally being on the Switch. It's been, along with a bunch of other games, has been added to the SNES emulator on the Switch. So you can jump in and play that right now. If you have a Switch online subscription, you can already download the NES emulator and the SNES emulator. So you can just jump on and play those at any time. They also added. When I saw, I downloaded because I don't jump into that app all the time.
Mhm.
They added Star Fox 2 and like a bunch of other stuff, so I'm super excited. And they also added Mother 1 as well, or Earthbound Zero, or whatever the Western title of it is. But super excited. I love Earthbound, one of my favorite games of all time. So glad to see it there.
Yeah, I've never gotten to play it, so I'm pretty stoked about the opportunity now.
Oh yeah, definitely go for it. There's at certain points I would recommend a guide, because there's just sometimes where you're just like, I'm not really sure where I'm supposed to go, and there's like game design wise, like there's some like wander around until you bump into this particular area, and like, oh, that's where you're supposed to be, that's where you're supposed to stand, and then that triggers this other thing or whatever.
Okay, so it's Golden Sun 2, got it.
Yeah. Oh man, Golden Sun slaps. That game's so good. I was telling somebody about that recently, but yeah, that game's so good.
Yeah, it's incredible. That dungeon on the second one, you're like, what do I do?
Yeah, you're like, where do I go? Speaking of updates, we got Metroid Dread is getting some, or has gotten some new difficulty modes.
Yeah.
They've added a new rookie mode, which is a little bit easier than the regular mode, where I think it's just that the enemies do less damage. So if you've been playing regular Metroid Dread and you're just really, really having a rough time, there's a new mode that you can play, rookie mode, that's a little bit easier. Now, if you've played the hard mode, and you're like, yo, this was good, but it just ain't hard enough, they've added a new Dread mode. a new Dread mode, which is, I don't know if it's every single attack, but I believe it is. You have to no hit the whole game.
Yeah.
One hit will KO you and send you back to not to the start of the game, but send you back to your save point. And that's out right now, and I believe in April, there's another update coming where they're going to add a boss rush mode, so you can just blast through all the bosses, and the bosses are like some of the the most fun parts. Except for maybe I probably won't enjoy doing all of the, what are they called, the Emmy robots.
Oh no!
Back to back to back to back, because it's a little bit too much. It's a little bit too much stress to deal with. But I am excited. I've already beaten the hard mode. I did the hard mode like right after I finished the main game. I'm like, yo, I just want to play this game again. So I just did the hard mode. So I'm looking forward to trying out the Dread mode once I probably finish up. So I got to finish up Earthbound. I'm doing a current run of Fallout 4. Then I'm gonna hit up Elden Ring, and then I'll probably go and I'll do Dread mode on Switch. So that'll be pretty good.
Cool. Yeah, so excited about all the content updates, but I like, man, the one hit mode, I'm like, I have no idea. Like, I don't even know how you'd be able to do that. Like that game is okay. Metroid Dread is hard in the best way possible. Like it's hard
Mhm.
because it should be hard, and it gives you the skills to beat it. But
Yeah,
man, like a no-hit run of Metroid Dread, I can't. I don't know how you
it's
do it.
it's definitely doable, and it's and part of the because you have the counter system, I think is like where a lot of it's gonna come in because
But it only works on some stuff.
there's a lot of enemies that you probably don't bother to counter because you can just blast them. And they don't do a lot of damage. We're like now it's like, all right, let me iron out how do we take care of everybody. There's going to
Yeah.
be a couple of tough boss fights for sure, just to avoid getting hit by just like a little tiny like attack or whatever, or it's a tiny bullet or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. That'll be tough, but I'm looking forward to it. I think it'll be a fun challenge.
Yeah, that'll be
Uh,
actually good. And then like I don't know, doing boss versus the enemies back to back. So for those who haven't played, the robots that are in that game that are on the cover, they never get easier. Like ever. Like they are consistently terrifying the whole game.
yep, they did
And
they did a good job with
yeah,
those.
it's a great mechanic, but you're also constantly stressed
Hmm.
in the best way possible. But
Hmm.
something that may be less stressful, I don't really know, but we'll see. There's some stuff about the new Kirby game that's coming out. They showcase some of the powers and all the things you'll be able to do. And for those who haven't heard about this, there's going to be a new Kirby game coming out called Kirby and the Forgotten Land, which is going to
Hmm.
be a open world Kirby game in what seemingly looks like some sort of like post-apocalyptic world. I don't really know. It's really interesting looking though. But you're gonna play as Kirby. You're gonna have open world concept, be able to go all over the place, everywhere. You're gonna be able to like do things with your powers, like upgrade them into more powerful versions
Hmm.
of them that give them more abilities to do different things. I don't know if you can combine and fuse them, mostly because I can't remember, which would be awesome. But yeah, I'm stoked. I'm gonna get this game. Like I don't even care what reviews say. I haven't gotten a Kirby game that I've been really excited about in a long time, and this one I'm stoked
Hmm.
for.
Yeah, and I feel like it's been a really long time since we've gotten a 3D Kirby game. Like
Yeah,
that's a big one because a lot of the ones that have come out that I honestly don't pay much attention to. I don't pay much attention to the 2D Kirby games just because I haven't
right.
been interested in them for a long time. But I'm like, I think the last 3D Kirby game that I played and remember was on the N64. Oh wait,
That's
no,
because
that
it's awesome.
was that 3D or was that 2D?
It's a
It was
side scroller.
2.5D. It was
Yes,
2.5D.
so they've all been 2.5D ever since then, but the only ones that I've been really stoked and enjoyed a ton were Kirby 64, the two Game Boy Advance ones, which were both awesome,
Hmm.
and obviously Kirby Air Ride, which
Kirby Air Ride.
needs
That's
to
the other
come
3D
out in
one.
some way, shape, or form on the Switch immediately.
Yeah, that'd be pretty fresh.
But yeah,
I'm
so
excited. I mean, not that I don't have it emulated, but
this might be the first 3D Kirby game, actually. I think it is. Like, I think it's the first like full like 3D open world ish concept
I mean,
they've ever
definitely
done.
open world. Like, I'm like, there's got to be a 3D Kirby game out
But
there
there's
that I'm
not.
just not
There's
familiar
never
with.
one that you have like XYZ access on.
Hmm, maybe
That's interesting.
sick.
So in other games that are coming out, one that my son in particular is very excited about, Mario Strikers is coming to the Switch in a new game, and
Yeah.
it looks as bonkers as you would expect a Mario soccer game to be. Um,
Yo, I'm so excited. I don't know if you've played the original
I have not, so I don't
Mario
really know a lot
Strikers.
about the
Oh
franchise.
man, so the original one came out on the GameCube, and that one slaps. It's a lot of fun. It's a,
Okay.
it's a great game. It's like the same amount of fun that you have when you're like playing, like the same hype that people have about like the Wii Sports games,
Mhm.
which we'll get to in a little bit. Um, but like specifically for a soccer game, and it's Mario themed. It's basically like Mario Tennis, but it's soccer. So it's like all the hype of like the special moves, the abilities, all that sorts of stuff, but now in a soccer game, and it's just a lot of fun. And
Right.
they've added like a bunch of neat stuff that's like, what is it, local 8 player multiplayer.
That's a
Yeah, so you,
lot.
you can do 4v4. There's online clubs that you can have, so you can play like if you want to have like a squad of folks or a team or whatever, you can
Okay.
join an online team and then play like team versus team matches or whatever, or club
Nice.
versus club matches or whatever. And there's a bunch of upgrades and what do you call it? What's the word I'm looking for? Cosmetic and changes and stuff like that you can have. So like even between two Mario players or whatever, they might have radically different builds, so they just play differently.
Nice. Also, if y'all are in the chat and you're excited about any of these Nintendo games from the Direct, let us know what you're most excited about. So, like, we can talk a little bit more about that too.
Yeah, because we did not we're not covering everything. There's
Yeah,
so
there's
much
a
stuff in that Nintendo
lot.
Direct. We just had to skip over some stuff.
Yeah, like even a new Fire Emblem Warriors game that's going to be focused more in the Three Houses world. Which, if you haven't had a chance to play Fire Emblem Three Houses, you're missing out. It's so good. It is literally three games of Fire Emblem in once, and I will leave it at that because actually it's more than that, but I'm not going to tell you how.
There you go.
But yeah, so there's supposed to be a Fire Emblem Warriors game coming out set in the Three Houses universe, and you might be like, well, that's not a lot of characters. No, this is a lot. Like that'll be really cool. I'm excited for it. There's a co-op mode that's coming in Splatoon 3, which I didn't know they didn't have co-op in it in the first place, actually, because I don't play Splatoon like a scrub.
Yeah, I also don't play with Splatoon, but I think it's a new. I didn't take down the note on it because I don't know anything about Splatoon, so I can't talk about it very meaningfully. But I think it's an additional new co-op mode to the existing ones that already exist.
Yeah, but if there was anything that we realized about Nintendo from this Nintendo Direct, it's that they finally have started to remember that they have all of these great hits that they need to revisit and actually start releasing things for. And in the midst of that, which means we are also getting a new Wii Sports game, which I don't know. It's not Wii Sports, but it might as well be.
Switch Sports.
Yeah, Switch Sports or something like that is what they should have done, but I don't know. They don't have us marketing for some reason.
They should have.
They should have, but we're getting a new Switch Sports game, and it'll have all the bowling, tennis, badminton, and soccer, and volleyball, and all sorts of craziness going on with that. So if you've ever been a fan of any of the Wii Sports games, which I don't think I know a single person who wasn't actually, but we're getting more of that, and you can be stoked for that. And I don't know, I'm excited to go play Wii Sports with my kids and my wife, and hopefully not cause her to divorce me in the process.
I love Wii Sports. Like me and my mom probably still play bowling. Every couple times I go home to visit, we'll play Wii bowling again. And of course we have pro ranking in every sport. But it's super fun. There's an update coming this summer for some more controller options because some of the games, I think soccer has a couple different modes that you can do, and there's some other kind of soccer variant that they're also adding. And then there's an update coming to add golf in the fall as well.
Nice.
So yeah, definitely excited about that. And the last thing that I'm excited about from the Nintendo Direct was the DLC announcement for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Yeah. We're getting a bunch of past courses from the previous Mario Kart games. They're coming in packages of 8, and I believe we're getting 6 updates. So that's
8 times 6.
What is that? 44? 48.
Yeah. So some of you guys might be like, well, they're just going to add courses. No, I don't think you understand. In the game currently, there are 48 tracks in the game currently. We're literally getting an entire game's worth of tracks for this game. Instead of making a new Mario Kart game, they're like, let's just double it.
Yep, I'm super excited. Yeah. I love playing Mario Kart. I'm at the point where I've already, it's been out for years, so it's I have 3 stars on every trophy on 200 and in the mirror mode or whatever. So it's there's nothing left to do except get dusted in time trials with professionals. So I'm more than happy to have more tracks to play, and now the online play is better. So, I can play online with randos and have a grand old time because my friends get tired of me beating them.
I mean, I didn't even know you played Mario Kart. We should hop on and play sometime.
Yeah, definitely.
That's what we should do for couch co-op one night.
Yeah.
You and Kenny hop on there and just start racing.
There you go.
That would be dope. Yeah. So, and if you're wondering how much it's going to cost, I actually don't remember how much it's going to cost, honestly. But I do know.
The price is already on the store. Okay. So if you jump onto the Nintendo store, I also don't remember how much it is. But you can buy the whole pack of them for some. I remember it being a reasonable price.
Hey. What's up, cuz? That's my cousin Bethany on there. Yeah, we can get together and play online too. But the other thing about that is if you have the Nintendo Switch Online expansion pack, you get the whole thing as part of that. Hey, you don't have to pay for it.
That's
which I don't know. It's people have been talking about this isn't worth it. You just get a new console but things like that, if they're gonna keep doing things like that with it, I am 100% down for keeping that forever. Like
Hmm.
free DLC, like I'll take it.
Yeah, free
On
DLC
top of
that
having
costs money
N64 stuff, yeah. So that's worth it to me
and
anyway.
unreleased any SNES games like Star Fox 2.
Yes, hidden
Let's go.
content. So that's what's everything from that. And then also, we also got Pokemon news yesterday, which I could probably talk for hours on, but I'll try not to. So, if you're a fan of Pokemon, Sunday was Pokemon Day, and they released a boatload of news about what's coming out. So, the biggest things that probably that you're going to want to know from that, besides like updates to their Pokemon apps on the games, on those and contents and characters and blah blah blah, we are going to be getting some new content for Pokemon Legends Arceus, and it is out right now. So the
Hey,
content mainly
nice.
focuses on mass outbreaks, as far as I know currently. I haven't gotten a chance to go through all of it yet, but there are going to be a lot more mass outbreaks that happen, including Alpha Pokemon mass outbreaks, which is on the level of Metroid Dread level terror. Y'all know who've been playing Pokemon Legends know what I'm talking about. So imagine fighting multiple alphas all at the same time and trying to catch all that. But that's part of the storyline that's going on. There's something going on where you have to go up to those stranger versions of Dialga and Palkia at the same time and hopefully not get murked by them. So they're having that. It's already out. You can go ahead and download that and start playing into it. It's just part of the regular game. So it's good to see that they're still supporting Legends Arceus after you finish it and that there's going to be more content coming out for that. I'm stoked about that. But also, we got news about the newest Pokemon game that's coming out, which is Gen 9, I think now, and it's going to be Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet, I think. So, I'm stoked about it. I wish I had a picture on here. When I cut the video down, I'll add a picture into the clip just to show you guys like what the starters are, and I'll add it into the screen or something like that. But
Nice.
so the starters are basically a fire crocodile, a grass cat, and a duck with a Donald Duck style hat, but looks like sort of admiral in the military or something. Like I don't earn the Navy. Like so, I don't know. They're all adorable and they all look awesome. And this is the first time I'm having a really hard time choosing my starter again. I'm like, oh no, like these are all great.
I'm like almost positive when you said fire crocodile. I'm like, isn't there like a fire robot crocodile in Mega Man X?
I don't know. There's like
Probably.
Mega Man X has all sorts of stuff.
There's like probably 4 crocodile enemies in Mega Man.
Yeah, Sharon says she's shocked the ducks that can get away with having a military style cut. Why is that shocking? They've had like I feel like they've had stuff like that before. Maybe
In
I don't
Pokemon?
know.
Oh,
Maybe I'm
yeah,
wrong. They have a
you would
lot
know
of
better
things in
than me.
Pokemon. Yeah, but there's also like literally 900 and something Pokemon and regional variants of them now. So
You
I
got
don't
me
know.
there.
There's literally 3 different types of Meowth. So I'm stoked about it. You'll definitely hear more from us when we find out more news about the new Pokemon games. Oh, because Disney will slap anyone with a
Uh-huh.
copyright infringement. Oh yeah. I don't know. There's gonna be definitely a lot of Donald Duck memes, so we'll see what happens with that.
Donald Dolan.
All right. So in our
Alrighty.
main, go ahead and hit that main section up.
Yep. So we're gonna slide on by the check the tech section, and we'll catch them on the flip side next week. So our main topic for today.
Kenny says Digimon would do it. Digimon has no fears of anyone, and they don't care at
Yeah,
all.
that's true.
They'll turn a friggin' snowman into like a mega refrigerator for all they care with nukes.
With nukes, and he can do a backflip.
Yeah, and fly.
So yeah, for our main topic, so Steam's or more Valve's Gabe Newell, who is their president and co-founder, recently had a lengthy interview with Rock Paper Shotgun concerning the Steam Deck, cryptocurrencies, and NFTs, and why the PC industry, quote unquote, won't tolerate closed platforms, which covered a whole bunch of questions across a bunch of stuff. We just wanted to pull like some little excerpts here and there to talk about it. In general, some of it's just exciting information, and we're glad to hear it, like the NFT stuff. But it was also interesting to hear his own thoughts on it. So yeah, in regards to the Steam Deck, basically like this is something that Steam or Valve has been working on for a long time, and that Newell himself has wanted for a long time. And he expressed that he was super happy with how the Steam Deck had come out. Was coming together, and that finally all the technology, as far as memory space, like GPU, CPU capabilities, like the screen resolution and screen size and battery life and all that stuff, had finally come together for like an affordable price. that you could do a handheld console. And I think like his enthusiasm probably mirrors our own. Like for me, a lot of the reason that I loved buying stuff on Switch, for especially for indie gamers or indie game developers, was because I'm like, oh man, like this game exists on Steam, and I'll buy it here and I'll buy it on Switch because I want to be able to play it anywhere. So the Steam Deck, being able to just pull stuff from your library, I'm like, oh man, this is fantastic. I can play anything in my library. It's actually not anything. Not every game is necessarily like, tested to be compatible with the Steam Deck, but a lot of games are. But for me, I'm like, oh man, like I can buy stuff on Steam and I can buy all the indie games I want and I can still play them on the go, and it's great.
Yeah, that's impressive. Going back to my sister's comment, ducks. Yes, I hope they have like a Mighty Duck skin for that duck. Actually,
That would be fresh.
I hope that's the shiny for it. But yeah, no, the Steam Deck looks dope. Honestly, like I was skeptical of it at first because I was like, is this really gonna work that well? But if it works, like I'm for it. Like the Switch has shown anything like having a handheld console like that can do the things is something people want. And so
and it's dockable.
Yeah.
Like it's basically just a little portable PC.
Yeah, and I know people were like bagging on the Switch when it first came out because of that, but like the ability to go back and forth like that is something that's really convenient and people love it. So if you can create a PC
slaps.
version of that can do all of that, like I would be for it. Like, and that's probably my biggest issue. That honestly solves one of my biggest issues with PC gaming. I don't like to PC game because I just really enjoy being able to sit on my couch and play on my TV. Like, it's just relaxing at the end of the day for me. And if a Steam Deck can like enable me to play PC games on my couch and do that, then I'm far more inclined to spend money on PC games, especially things like Beat Saber. Because imagine being able to play Beat Saber in your living room on the TV with that. Yeah,
that'd be pretty fresh.
Yeah, but it requires some sort of interface to get it off VR, but you still have to figure it out. But I don't know, maybe it'll work.
Yeah. I mean, or maybe you could. I mean, the Steam Deck is a computer. You could probably hook up your headset to it. I mean, once it's docked, you could probably do it.
That's true.
I haven't looked into it that specifically, but I'd wager it's possible.
Yeah. But I would love to be able to play all my video games that I do on like the PC, the few of them that I do on the PC, like on my TV. Like right now, I run League of Legends and Phantasy Star Universe, or not Universe, Phantasy Star Online 2, and a couple other ones on my PC. And being able to just prop that up on my TV instead would be phenomenal.
Yeah, 100%. Sorry, I was like trying to get my headphone charger set up. I'll be fine. It probably won't die while I'm.
Adrian Valentine says she definitely wasn't expecting to love the Switch so much. Yeah, like I don't know if anybody really was expecting to love it as much as we did. Like, and I was like super hyped for it, and I still didn't expect to love it as much as I do. Like, it's so good being able to like sit down at the end of the day and like my wife can watch whatever she wants on the TV, and I can like pop up on my Switch and we can watch stuff together as I'm playing or like whatever. Like. It's great. My cousin once called it like the relationship saver.
For me, like my big motivator for the Switch is I'm like I can just it's like having a better Game Boy with me at all times, and I can just any social situation that's like mildly a pain that I have to deal with, like oh man I gotta go to the DMV, I'm like suddenly this isn't so much of a pain because I can stand in line and just be playing Earthbound, and like that's amazing. Or I can like stand in line and like de-weed my town in Animal Crossing because I haven't visited in like 9 months.
Right. But also
it's awesome.
Yeah, but also the Switch needs competition, and it hasn't really had anybody giving it competition. Because like you don't have competition, like things kind of stagnate for a long time. And
I mean, and they're doing okay. Like everybody was hype about it. Oh, we're going to get a Switch Pro, except for me because I knew better. The OLED Switch is just a fancier regular Switch.
Pretty sweet.
But with the Steam Deck, we might the Nintendo might get a little bit of fire on them. Like, oh, we better get on that Switch Pro because it's like several months ago, there wasn't really a motivator for let's do a Switch Pro. But now, like once the Steam Deck's release is imminent, it's on the way. We've seen many a video from Linus Tech Tips and other videos about the specs and how it runs and how hot does it get and all that stuff. So we know it's gonna be good. We know it's gonna be good. So Nintendo's like they got some motivation under them.
You call it the Switch 2.0 Pro.
Ha! Nice.
Terrence said Nintendo Switch saving Banal Task one Earthbound at a time.
Yep, yep.
I mean, you right, you right. Kenny, what are
You're
you
right.
talking about? Look, bro, out here
Because
hanging in the chat.
I knew we wasn't gonna get a Switch Pro. At least
I
not
mean,
not then. Not
you
then.
weren't wrong. You weren't wrong. Now we just
Yep.
need Digimon to step up this game and like really compete with Pokemon. We'll be like we'd be happy.
We're popping off.
Yeah, we'd be good.
It'll be 1999 all over again. It'll be great.
Oh, no.
But yeah, jumping into his comments about crypto and NFT. So a couple months ago, Steam actually banned any game that has that it has integration with NFTs or cryptocurrency. I think this was back in I want to say it's like October, November. They banned any game that has cryptocurrency. There was like some game that was like kind of popular that were like, we just have to remove the game from Steam, and this is a setback, and blah blah blah. Despite the fact that like consumers everywhere and developers everywhere have said this is a wrong move. We NFTs ain't the way.
Yeah.
But Steam took a stand and was basically like, no, if your game utilizes this technology, it's bad strats. We're not doing it. Like you have to take it off, and it's or rather we'll remove it, and that's the end of the story. You get rid of it. Newell commented, President CEO, that you have to separate the underlying technology versus which actors are utilizing the technology. It's like if you're a chemist and you're looking at nitrocellulose, you're like, oh yeah, we can do some really interesting stuff with that, and then everybody's buying and selling and buying guns and shooting people with them, and you're like, oh wait, this whole chemistry thing is right, but like there are some outcomes that might be negative, and it's like not to compare like NFTs with shooting people, he goes on to say, but it's like the underlying technology has to be different from the people who are using it. And he goes on to explain that like with NFTs, like they found that like when they're trying to allow people to do so, because they didn't get banned immediately. But when they found that like people they allowed them, it was like it wasn't like, oh, there's like a point something percent of these charges for NFTs that are coming up as fraudulent or being contested and whatnot, and like people want refunds for this amount of thing, or they're pursuing refunds or whatever, or they've just been scammed out of some amount of money. But it's like 50% of all of the transactions relative for NFTs, because folks are getting scammed because it's a new it's a new technology, it's a new market that people do not understand, and they just hear NFT money, cutting edge, I gotta get in on it, and so they're throwing their money at stuff, and folks are snatching and grabbing, and they disappear, or they give you a picture of a random JPEG and like, there you go, congratulations, or whatever.
That and the major lack of like regulation behind it, which is the appealing part for some people, but that's also the reason all these scams and stuff happen. People keep getting gypped out of their money. And it's not to say that there couldn't be a good purpose for like an NFT type thing in a game, because that would give it practical utility as opposed to being just a JPEG. But
it's like nobody has suggested anything that's reasonable.
It's not hit that point, and nobody's tried to really like make a good way to do that and have it done in such a way that you won't get scammed.
Yeah, like I'm sure for there's a meaningful and useful space for cryptocurrency and probably NFTs. However, like I'm not like the technology isn't the problem. The usage of it is, and so far it's like, as far as most of the consumers are concerned, nobody's making any good ideas to add benefit to the consumer with either of these concepts. Right. So as far as it goes for should they exist in gaming, like the CEO of Valve and basically the community at large seems to agree, the answer is no. Until somebody comes up with a really compelling, meaningful idea that really adds value for the consumer, like NFTs and blockchain and all that razzmatazz has just no business in gaming.
Yeah. Adrian Valentine says crypto and NFTs don't belong in gaming, and it's already basically bad neopets of day trading. Camille, we're gonna have we're gonna make a whole episode about Pokemon versus Digimon one day. Adrian also said that the technology behind it is also problematic.
For what's it called? Global warming reasons. It's like blockchain technology is bonkers taxing from a server perspective, and it just generates a I already used bonkers in a sentence. A bonkers amount of heat. So there's a maintainability um like angle or environmental angle where maybe this isn't the best way to do things, and I agree, but like as far as like the like that aside, there may be some use case somewhere for it, but I haven't heard one, and I I'm still waiting for a good idea. But
Yeah.
until then, I'm still gonna be against it all the way. Oh, Adrian said there's other reasons too. I mean, feel free to throw them on in the
Yeah,
chat.
yeah.
Like
Like,
we welcome it. I don't like I'm at like my limit of blockchain and NFT knowledge goes for mostly gaming because I'm not really interested in it in any other capacity outside of making memes. Um, but if there's other stuff that you feel like is problematic that people need to know about other than the environmental hazards and the gaming stuff and the damage to like artists and creators and so forth, feel free to throw that stuff in there. Please do.
yeah, crypto and NFT is one of those things that like I've really been genuinely trying to give it a fair shake on both sides of this, like the pros and cons of it. I'm still having a hard time wrapping my mind fully around all of this. It
It
just
would
feels like
probably
there's
be better if
so much.
anybody like gave a good reason for it of like there's a bunch of CEOs like this is the future of gaming, and like when people ask questions like but how, like nobody has a legitimate good answer.
Yeah, like crypto, I don't really see it as too much. Like, I have a hard time seeing it in general as different than like gold and WoW, like or World of Warcraft. Just because like I don't really see the practical purposes behind it. Like, as more businesses adopt it as like like a real like functional currency, and you can like buy things in the real world with it, then sure. But that doesn't really make it any different than regular money at that point. So like, what's the difference? And then like, I don't know. There's a lot going on in
It's a
the
lot more
space.
elaborate to maintain.
Yes.
It's
I'm
just
just like,
it's just gold with
what?
extra steps.
It's
It's
gold with
digital
extra
gold with extra
steps.
steps.
Yeah. So
Which is
I don't
probably
know.
a gross oversimplification, but that's how we make memes here.
Yeah, and I know
Um,
there's all these arguments, blah blah blah, decentralization. I'm like, I don't really understand how this is a better option. But again, I haven't done all the research yet, so I will admit that I'm still learning and trying to understand. But
yeah, that's fair.
there's a lot, and there's a lot of things I'm concerned about with it overall.
What was the last thing? Oh, and so the last thing that they hop into in the rock paper shotgun article. Well, actually, it's not the last thing, but it's the last thing that we're going to touch on because the article is like I said, is a very lengthy article and they talk about a lot of different
Mhm.
topics that are all really interesting. But why the PEC industry won't tolerate closed platforms. And we've talked about this like a bunch of times when you heard of what was it? Was it PlayStation that bought Activision Blizzard, or was that Microsoft that bought Activision Blizzard?
Microsoft.
Microsoft bought Activision Blizzard, and then somebody went out and bought like another. Sony went out and bought some other company like right after that. Or they announced that they were buying some other company right after that. So basically, you have like these big companies that are these big, more accurately, these big um, console manufacturers who are buying game development studios. And the part of the worry is like, oh man, are we going to start seeing a whole bunch more exclusives? And we've talked about it for, and like our opinion is like generally no, because it's not a big benefit to them to do that in the long run. Um,
Yeah.
and Gabe Newell seems to have a similar opinion where things have been moving towards more cross
Mhm.
platform ability. uh
Well, if you're Microsoft and Nintendo, it has.
well, I mean, there's been other games too. Well,
Sony doesn't
I
really
mean,
like to play nice with the whole cross-platform thing if they can help it.
they're getting there. Like I can't remember what games were encapsulated by it, but I remember reading an article some time ago where it was like PlayStation, excuse me, and Sony were like allowing some cross platform ability playability for like a
Mhm.
couple of games or whatever. So like the conversations are there. Um, I think of, at least for me, I think of the purchase of game studios is maybe like it's a little bit of like, oh, we need to kind of get our foot in that market too because other people are doing it and we don't want to necessarily be muscled out. And it's a little bit like, it's a deterrent of like, oh, like if you want to, if you want to make Call of Duty an exclusive, then we'll make, I don't know, FIFA an exclusive or something like that. But just big title stuff, and it's more of just like a deterrent for that kind of call, so that neither side does it. But in the long run, I think it's overall more beneficial because the more players overall who are playing these games as a service style games, then like the better it is for both of these companies, because there's more people on the servers, there's more people playing the game has a longer life cycle, like all that sorts of stuff. So I don't think that even though there are people who are buying up game companies, I don't think that it's like we're gonna start seeing more exclusives. Like that's like an old 2010 kind of or like early 2010s kind of ideal. And I think that we're gonna move away from that, and that games will become more universal rather than not.
Yeah. I would hope that becomes the case, because there's a lot. I don't know. I don't work in the game industry necessarily, so I can't say this for sure. But to me, it seems like if you can have an overhead company who can support some of the cost of you being able to develop your games, then it should give you more freedom to actually be able to produce quality games.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not an independent studio just trying to do this all on your own, like if you got somebody helping you with the funding part of it and kind of giving you the resources that you need to be able to create the content that you want, then I see that part of it as a good thing. And legitimately, there is the concern about like having another like studio doing the overheading thing and like not giving you creative freedom. So there's the other end of that. But there's merits to the idea in the first place. So it really just depends on how much, like, are they gonna let game studios do their thing and create?
Yeah. So far, it seems to be that the answer is yes. Yeah. Like the when game studios purchase other game studios, sometimes it's a little especially like EA, or it's a little like, we're here, you make you're like, stop all the games that you were making, like you make this mobile game now, like that's what you do. But at least I feel like the console producers like understand, like, yo, you got a good formula, like we're not here to get in your way, but like I just want some of the money that you're making, and I also want the ability to make the stuff that you produce exclusive to my stuff if if I need to go nuclear or whatever. But like all that stuff aside, I think that it's like my headphones keep beeping to tell me that they're running low on battery.
Did you go fix that real quick? Or?
Nah, I will be fine. But yeah, all that stuff aside, I think it'll be generally positive for like the gaming community at large.
We might actually get some games out of Bethesda now, so that's kind of nice.
That'll be nice. Maybe it'll be less like, hey, like maybe you guys should actually finish Elder Scrolls 6. Just throwing it out there. Or at least release another trailer or something. Just give the people something.
All right, and ending on that note, Adrian Valentine got back to us about the question we asked earlier. So, sorry I can't contribute more. Stuffing my face with soup dumplings. Ooh, soup dumplings do sound good.
Ooh, nice. Good choice.
Yeah, right? NFTs and crypto are boo history. Right now, most cryptocurrencies remain unregulated as financial assets under the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission. Because of this, the prices are frequently manipulated, and market participants are too often defrauded or simply exploited, and assets are stolen outright, and taxes are owed and often not reported, let alone paid, on top of other things that exploit people trying to navigate those waters. Yeah, like, that's all really good points. Like, we need to deal with that. Like, we don't want people getting screwed out of their money. Like, that's not good.
Yep. So I didn't include it in our notes, but Newell also mentions the high volatility of NFTs and cryptocurrency in his dismissal of why they don't belong in gaming. Like he is like there's like a whole 3-4 paragraphs where he gives like a very detailed answer about why Steam is banning NFTs and cryptocurrency, and like all of it's useful, but I just took a little excerpt. But yeah. That you hit it right on the head as far as like at least what he mentions as well. Right. Yeah. Undoing mentioned Elder Scrolls 6. You mean another release of Skyrim? I mean, honestly, it's been 11 years since Skyrim came out. It was what was it? November 11th, 2011. 11/11/11 was when it came out.
I guess I don't know. It just feels like it's been perpetually part of my existence at this point. So
Yep. I mean, I've been having a. I mean, even when I replay Skyrim, I still play the original version rather than the what was the new one that just came out? The not Game of the Year version, the Anniversary Edition or whatever, which apparently is just like a collection of mods from the community that also they don't work. So the Anniversary Edition's like not better than the base one.
yeah. Undine says I still can't play it on my DS or cell phone on Tap My Kits, and Adrian says we've been playing it forever with new mods, right? I think you can play it on cell phones though.
There is
No,
there
I'm
is
not talking about Blades. No, not Blades.
Okay, I was gonna say there's a Switch version of Elder Scrolls that's like online. It's actually kind of fun. I played it for like a little bit. Yeah, I like played a whole bunch of it like a couple months ago and just destroyed a whole bunch of people in like online content. But then I was like, okay, like I'm at the point where I need to either like start paying to win or just like grind forever. So I stopped.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like you could like do an emulator of like the OG one pretty easily on a phone. Like
possibly, maybe not pretty easily, but
you could use that whole Xbox Cloud thing to be able to play Skyrim on it.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, see, there's always a way. You could do that there. You could do it on your refrigerator, like whatever.
But it's not on the DS yet. He's right.
That's true. It is not on the DS.
I can't play Skyrim on my original Game Boy Color. So untapped markets.
That's a good point. There's still potential.
Yeah, Adrian, speaking of playing it forever with new mods, I'm like literally playing through Fallout 4 again because my friend Shelby is playing through it for the first time, and he keeps telling me all this stuff. He's like, oh, this happened, and this happened. I'm like, man, that sure does sound like a lot of fun. It's been a couple years since I played Fallout 4, but it feels like a whole new game with just a couple of mods. And so here I am playing Fallout 4 again with a bunch of new mods, and I'm having a good old time.
There you go. All right. Well, that's it for the show tonight for everything we've got. As far as the stuff that's going on this week, there should be an episode of y'all should be doing the quorum this week. Taryn's gonna have to update me in the comments because I don't know what's going on in the quorum because usually I cannot participate, unfortunately. So we have the quorum on Thursday nights at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. If you haven't done that, you can hop into our Discord. It's on link on the Facebook page. If you haven't liked or followed the Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch page, go ahead and hit that like or subscribe buttons on those and
break this video 5.
With new content. Yeah, break this video 5. That we're gonna be
hit
trying
that bell, subscribe.
Yeah, at some point or another, apparently we're gonna have a Mario Kart night, so expect to have a lot of rage coming out of us.
Well, I'll title the stream "Everybody's Mad at Steve."
Everyone's mad at Steve. Taryn the Magnificent. All right, so the quorum is going to be, or supposed to be, Daredevil season 2, episodes 9 through 11. So if you want to join in, go watch those episodes and then hop in the conversation with them. They always have a lot of really funny quotes that I have no idea how they came up that come out of that, but they constantly post them and they're hilarious.
Yep, that's Thursday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. I believe.
Central. So yeah, because we're a bunch
Central.
of weirdos. So yeah. What else?
And we want to give a special thanks to our Patreon supporters. We appreciate y'all's monthly contributions because they help us run these dank shows like these throughout the week and do neat little events and so forth. So we want to give a shout out to Doug Schumann and Shelby Johnson.
Yeah, thank you so much. You know what we should do with the Mario Kart night? Let me figure out a way of I need to figure out how to create a room.
A public room?
Public room and let everybody else who wants to join in from our page hop in on us as long as it's not full.
That'd be pretty fresh.
Yeah, right? Maybe we'll figure that out. We'll let you guys know after I figure that out and when we're going to do that. Especially when the new tracks come out. That's definitely going to happen.
I get to dunk on everybody for the first time. It'll be great.
I'm just going to set it to 200 mode so all of us are terrible at the same time.
There we go. That's what you think.
We did that in a double date this weekend at my friend's house, and it was chaos and hilarity. So last on our list usually is the throwback. So what's your throwback for this week?
Is Skyrim a throwback? No, I'm kidding.
I don't know. It comes out every year.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know if a game that comes out every year is a throwback. That's a tough one.
While you're thinking, I'll talk about mine. My son has really been getting into the old school Nintendo games, and by old school I mean Super Nintendo and 64. So I'm probably gonna play some Star Fox this weekend because I watched him play Star Fox 64 like a 5-year-old would play Star Fox 64, and I was like, oh man, I really want to go hop on this and beat it now. So probably gonna go do that in the next couple days.
Nice.
And yes, and for those who want, yes, I will take the difficult path and go all the way up through like the Aqua and all that crap, like
Hey, there you
and go to
go.
Venom 2 and make my life suffer.
Do a barrel roll. Got some bogeys on me, Fox. For me,
Yes,
even though it's not, I guess it's
that was
technically
immediately all the comments.
perfect. Yeah, I was reading Adrian's post. That's why.
Okay.
What's it called? Even though I guess it's not a throwback, I was gonna say Star Fox 2, but it technically never came out until it came to the Switch, so I'm not sure if that's a throwback.
It's like
But I
throwback
did start
adjacent.
playing it, and it is pretty fun. It's definitely different. It's kind of like you choose which mission you want to do. So I'm still trying to like figure out like, okay, like how am I how do I power game this, and I make all the quote unquote right choices. But I'm having a good time so far. It's a little weird because I think it's like it's it's up down inverted, but not right left inverted. So like it took my brain like a couple of seconds to like get used to. I'm like, wait a minute, wait. I was like, I hold up and I go down. That's expected. But then I press left and I go left. What? But that was a little weird. I'm sure I can probably change it in like the options or something. But I'm gonna say Star Fox 2, because if you don't have a Switch, well, I guess there's no real comment for cause it never came out, but it's out. And if you haven't messed around in the SNES emulator on the Switch, you should. It's a lot of fun.
Nice. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. So that's our show for tonight. We hope you guys have a good week, and we will catch up with you all later. Adios.
Peace.
Bye.